All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Quarkus Hackathon office hours. This is the first office hours that we are holding, so bear with us. We think we're live. I've got the comments up and running, so if anyone who's on right now, if you can see both Daniel and I, as well as our presentation, give me a quick thumbs up or reaction. Just wanted to make sure because we're kind of going blind here. Um, if I don't hear anything, I'm going to continue on as planned. So, Daniel, can you go to the next slide for me?
Yeah, just
Perfect. Okay, so I wanted to go through a little bit of an agenda here. So we want to talk about um, obviously the point of this is to give you all, the participants of the hackathon, an opportunity to talk to and hear from Quarkus experts. So we're going to go over, we either want you to post some questions today or ideally posting questions during the week and as you're coming up, as you're working on an app and problems are arising to bring those up in the forums. And we want to have this as a weekly opportunity to come together and talk about some of those open issues, as well as hear from Quarkus experts on some of the topics that you might want to hear about or challenges you might face. So normally we will do this on Wednesdays. So today happens to be on a Thursday because this week, hopefully some of you all attended. There was a great DevNation Quarkus masterclass. So there was a 1 and 2 masterclass that was done. So we want to do that was scheduled for Tuesday or Monday and Wednesday this week. So we wanted to leave Wednesday alone, and so we moved this one to Thursday. But moving forward, so next Wednesday, July 1st through July 22nd, we're going to have the office hours on Wednesday at 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so this happens to be the only Thursday one. So this is a part of an overall enablement series. Sorry, let me go through the agenda first here. So we're going to go through a little bit of, there have been a few questions that have arisen. We're going to go through those. We're going to talk about just generally how you submit your questions. And then we want to hear from you in terms of what topics you guys want to hear about during these weekly office hours. We didn't hear anything this first week, so we decided to do it ourselves. So we came up with two topics. One was testing and debugging your Quarkus app, and then also deploying your Quarkus app to Kubernetes or OpenShift. So Daniel was going to talk about those in a little bit, but next slide, Daniel, for me. Another one. So I wanted to give you guys an enablement schedule kind of at a glance. So initially we had the opening ceremony last week, and so this was really the official kickoff of the hackathon. And we heard from the community experts around, where the community came from, why it came to be. We talked about some of the overall hackathon rules and some of the submission categories, and then we got a deep dive deep dive into the technology and a demo as well. So please go back to the Quarkus YouTube channel, and you can watch that opening ceremony. It's about an hour long, so there's a lot of great content there. And then this week, following along, there was a masterclass 1 and 2. Now, I don't believe at this point that those are available to watch or on demand. So I'll have to go back and see if I can get you some follow-up activities for those. And then you'll see as we get in further down the enablement schedule, we've got the weekly office hours starting. And each one of these office hours has is already scheduled. So if you go to the Quarkus YouTube channel, you can set reminders for yourselves it'll remind you when the office hours are coming up. I think that's it. So next slide, Daniel. This is just a link. I wanted to show you all the different office hours as well as the insight sessions. Quarkus does this weekly or biweekly thing called Insights, where some of the leaders from the community get together and they talk more of a free-form video where we talk about a certain topic. So those are great to watch, obviously live or watch on demand. But this is really the Quarkus IO channel is really where you want to see all these office hours, the opening ceremony, as well as some of these other events. Next slide. Most importantly, how to submit questions. Zulip is our primary form of communication for the hackathon. This Quarkus Zulip channel in general is where all the Quarkus community and experts reside. So if you just have a general question around Quarkus, this is your place to go. We also have what are called streams on Zulip around the hackathon. So if you have anything hackathon related, there is a hackathon stream there. So please go to the Zulip, download the Zulip chat. If you are looking for links on the quarkus.devpost.com site, there is a link to the Zulip chat and how to get started. And then other communications, obviously we talked about the YouTube live channel. And also if you are have any cool experiences or any insights or any things that impressed you and want to post something on Twitter, use the hashtag Quarkit for that. All right, next slide, Daniel. So we have had a couple questions, and I put two of them here just to bring them to light. So someone had talked about they were interested in the serverless subcategory, and they were saying could they use AWS Lambda? And the answer obviously is yes. What you'll see is we purposely kept these subcategories broad. We didn't want to force you into learning a new technology or a new framework. We wanted to allow you to focus on the Quarkus technology and learn that, and then deploy how you want and see fit. So in the case of the serverless subcategory, obviously you can use AWS Lambda or say something like Google Functions. Also, someone had mentioned about if we're going to make a free instance of Red Hat OpenShift available. So obviously this would be for folks who are interested in containerizing their application. And so we once again we purposely kept it broad. We didn't want to say that you had to use OpenShift for your container deployments. Obviously, you can use Kubernetes or whatever you feel comfortable with. With that being said, there are trials available for OpenShift that are pre-existing outside of the scope of this hackathon. So if you go to just do a basic Google for OpenShift trials, I'll make this deck available via the hackathon site so you guys can get these links. So OpenShift has an existing trial that you can use. There's also Code Ready Containers, which is a self-contained installation of OpenShift. And then also if you wanted to use a mini-shift, you could create a localized single node cluster on your laptop. So those are just some of the questions that came up. Once again, as things come up, challenges, you want to talk to experts, Zulip is the best place to start. And then moving forward, if you want to see additional topics covered during these office hours, please let us know. We're willing and all ears for that. So with that being said, Daniel, I'm going to turn it over to you. Daniel O is a technical product marketing manager with Red Hat and obviously a resident expert in Quarkus. And we came up with these two topics that we thought you'd be interested in. So Daniel, take it over.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. I think you see here, I can hear some kind of echoing, so make sure to. Okay. So can you hear me well?
Yes. Does that echo better?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Pretty good. Okay. So thanks for introducing Jeff. So my name is Daniel O. I'm working for technical marketing major, as the Jeff already mentioned here. So today I'm going to show the two major demo how to test your Quarkus application in the middle of you developing the application on the project. So maybe we think this is helpful to test your application along with the test-driven architecture and pattern, and also you can debug your application quickly and easily on your local environment. And I'm going to show you another quick demo, so how to deploy your Quarkus application into Kubernetes cluster, also OpenShift container platform when you're ready to go, and integration test with your project member, etc. So just a couple of things before we jump into the actual demo. So here is some, okay, just got, okay. Here is some quick summary of the testing Quarkus application. So Quarkus mainly provide three main capability to testing your application. So first, you can test your test case on JVM running in ThinJar, and also you can have a testing cases running on the native compilation, and also you can inject a kind of resource and using CDI beans into your test cases. So the most common use case, if you have a Microsoft application and that is usually exposed RESTful API, so you need to test that your application functionality over HTTP protocol and running on JVM. And one thing you need to do, you just pull down the Quarkus JUnit file dependency, aka Quarkus extension. But don't worry, this is the already pulled down by default if you create the Quarkus application from Quarkus plugin in your IDE tool, or you got some skeleton project from code.quarkus.io. And the Quarkus also uses Maven's Surefire plugin to manage and control the testing framework. So another beauty of the Quarkus testing capability, you can you can mock out your beans with the test cases or test classes. So there are two different ways to mock out your certain bean in your classes. The first one, you're going to add CDI alternative, just using mock annotation on your CDI on your classes, or you can add Quarkus mock classes. It enables you to simplify your the mock out a certain or multiple beans based on test cases. All right, just go to let's see how it works. So okay, here we go. So this is the the VS Code ID tool. So let's get started. Create this sample the example application to create the Quarkus project. And I'm going to use Maven build tool today. I'm going to use some kind of my group ID, me Daniel, and you can use the default variable when you create the application. I'm not going to pick any extension for the first time. And save the directory. And now we got us a new application here. So let's take a look at that a little bit in a POM XML in a Maven Java project structure. So now you will see here the JUnit file dependency here, and also here, and also you have the rest assured dependency. Actually, rest assured dependency and is not mandatory to run your test case on the Quarkus framework, but this is enable developer to have a more convenient way to test your application using the HTTP endpoint, just like a RESTful API. Okay, so here is just sample application here under the resource file. Just expose hello endpoint and return hello. So just like a usual hello world application. So let's try to run, and we have the test directory already pulled down when you create the Quarkus application. Two test classes. So one is running on test case on JVM. The other is the running this test use case on the native compilation file. So one of the beauty of the Quarkus framework, the testing capability, so you don't need to map or set endpoint along with the actual endpoint service. In this case, the hello is already setting automatically and mapped to the test case, the endpoint dash hello and the return code hello automatically generated. So let's try to run this application. So I'm going to use Maven, the Quarkus demo to running this application. This is one of the beauty of the Quarkus enable. You have a live coding mode, and then go to application. I'm going to end the present mode and localhost 8080. So this is a welcome page, and I'm going to a little bit make it bigger. All right. Pretty much better, I think is. So hello, is this application totally working? And then I'm going to open the new terminal just to make sure this test case is working properly. So using the Maven command line, Maven butterfly to run the test use case. So application learning, there's a one test case. So one test case run and success no errors. All right. So let's try to add another test case. Okay, let's say I have a need to implement new function on my project. And the first thing is I need to create a new endpoint. For example, so here is a new example. So add a new application and mid type and text plain. And but I need to create a new path, such like greeting, and I'm gonna need to pass down some kind of parameter, and not here, and the same method. Hello, greeting. Okay, and I'm gonna pass down the parameter. Uh, define the name is the variable also name here, and return hello, and I'm gonna append the parameter the name. All right, so I just create a new application here. Okay, and the get method and media type explain, and not here. Okay, back to here. Oh, I got a new parameter. Okay, okay. So let's try it one more time. Path param. Okay, annotation. Oh, not here. So try to pass param. And name is the name, and then all right, I think this is done. Okay, so we now have a new application endpoint using the greeting, and we can pass down some kind of parameter name. And let's try to create a new test case along with the test-driven development. So I need to use the test. And one thing I want to show you that the annotation Quarkus test the control your the test framework based on Quarkus. So annotation test and a new the method and let's say hello greeting and point here. And I'm not going to pass down dynamically, but I'm going to create some random name, code out like a UUID, so using kind of random and change it to string type here. And so given name is okay, and in but given name, but when I'm gonna add the parameter and using the name, just like the same format we just defined in the new the method, and I'm gonna pass down UID, and when the endpoint here, hello and greeting, and we're gonna use the pass down the parameter here, and then and static the expected static code and 200, and the body should be starts with hello and the UUID. We just created this one. Okay, so start with the time can make it. Okay, we're gonna
Hey Daniel,
import.
I think I noticed a typo in your URL. Just to head you off.
Uh,
Greeting.
uh, Greeting. Oh yeah, thanks for that. Okay, and can cast it and matcher and start with the count. Okay, I think this is done. So let's try to one more retest this application just to go to the actual and new endpoint. So because this is a really common pattern to develop the new application in your project team. So we have a 2 test run and all is good. And go back to the actual endpoint here and greeting and Daniel. Okay, I got some the right expectation. Maybe could change the name like Jeff, and we got a Jeff. Okay. This is some very simple way to add your test case on the Quarkus framework. So let's try to use the CDI capability. So Quarkus support the full CDI capability, which means you can add and inject the CDI bin even inside the test cases. So to create a new CDI using the CDI capability, we need to create a new service here. Let's try to create a new service here. And let's say greetings service Java file. And this is the application scope file. The just simple greeting method and get parameter name, and we're gonna return just the hello and the name, the same thing. But now we're gonna go to a resource, and we don't need to this longer any longer. And but for that, we're gonna inject this service using the CDI bins, greeting service and service here. And now we got service and greeting, and so it's name here. So after we create a new application and go to test case, let's try to using the same CDI injection here. So we're gonna inject greeting service, just why we create here. Here, and so we don't need to kind of generate random UUID any longer, because we just use that CDI bin here. So just needed to do that. So we just needed to here, just we're gonna delete here. And just like the normal and common the JUnit test scenario. So I'm gonna use assertions, and there are some assertions. Okay, this one, and assert true, filling out. And we're gonna do the service and greeting, not here. Greeting and name should be kind of maybe let's try to say the pass down the parameter Quarkus, and that should be start with hello and Quarkus. All right. Okay, we're gonna done, and let's try to one more time testing this application. Okay, we have a test just done and the 2 tests is success because we don't need to put in some hard code, the endpoint and the body, no need to parsing, because we just using CDI injection even in test use case. So one of the things I want to show you today is you can mock out your test cases. So for example, okay, I don't need to test integrate the backend service, but for this application will be deployed in the OpenShift or Kubernetes. So I need to mock out some bean by using the existing service. But now existing service try to call out actual backend application, but I need to make some kind of mockup. So in order to that, let's try to create a new kind of code up mock greeting service, a new greeting service here. And you need to just use the mock annotation, and this is also application scope application. And we need to override the existing, we're gonna extend existing greeting service here and override the original the greeting method, and the return code and hello. And let's try to make some differentiated to figure out, during the test, we just use mock rather than the actual greeting service. Just print some kind of printout. So this is from mock service here. Okay, I think it's good. All right, that's that. And test case, you still inject the greeting service. Okay, let's try to Maven verify to retest this application. So in the application here, now, but we don't have any some information, and we cannot figure out, these test cases invoke the mock service rather than actual services. So in order to find out, we need to, maybe we can just use it to add some log4j. Here is, I'm gonna define the log4j final. Okay, we're gonna use here the SFOJ logger and factory, same thing, J, and get those name. I'm gonna use the same class name to differentiate. Okay, and let's put in the some log as printout and logger and info, and let's try to call the same name just like Quarkus. Okay. All right. So let's one more time to build this application and retest this application. All right. Now you can see here. So hello Quarkus from the mock service. So in the meantime, so this functionality enable the developer to mock out your Java bean based on your test cases. So you don't need to integrate or communicate actual services. Okay, pretty cool. Oh, and one more thing about the test use case. You can the Quarkus test application running on the runtime separately compared to the live coding Quarkus runtime, which means the Quarkus use different port. Basically the rivaling the demo is running on an 8080 port here, and then the test mode actually using 8081, but you can change that port along with your local environment. In order to do that, so go to the application properly. You can check the Quarkus HTTP, and test port, and default 8081, but you can change it to 8088 or 8083, something like that. So when you run the test application, test your application runtime, and you're gonna see here So 8083 is a listening port. Okay, I think I'm done for the testing, and go back to the slide deck here. All right, and I'll change the present mode once again. So move on, okay, not here, okay, change the present mode. Okay, move on next. So how to debug your Quarkus application? Or let's say we just done developed a new couple of functionality on my application in my project. So, but sometimes, so one of the benefit of Quarkus let you know your error on your web browser or your live encoding the console. But sometimes you don't have any error or exception, but you have some kind of wrong result. So you're looking for the result A, but you have a result C. So in this case, we need to debug capability on Quarkus application, just like the Java framework. So there's a couple of things to use debug in a Quarkus framework. So you can run the dev mode, and the dev mode enable the listening port 5005 as a default, and even you don't need to suspend JVM when you run the debug the Quarkus application. So let's try to see how it works. So proper to running debugging in a Quarkus, so let's try to create some kind of silly code to make it we need to debug that code. So let's try to create a new endpoint one more time here. So media type and plain text type, okay, text plain, and also pass. Okay, in this case, we're gonna call kind of last letter, because I'm gonna create the last letter to find the what is the last there on the parameter. And last letter method, and you're gonna use the path parameter. And the same parameter. And I'm gonna need to calculate length first, and then of length here. And let's try to find out the last letter of this parameter. So last letter is the name, the original character, and we're gonna substring here the length, and then we're gonna return the last letter here. Okay, I just done, and at this time we're gonna have to use the code, just command line, to call the new the REST endpoint, because the live coding is still working. And then you can see here 5405 as a listening as for your debugging, and go to here using call command, and 8080 and hello and last letter. Let's try to pass down Daniel. Okay, oh, nothing. Oh, maybe I have something missing. Maybe I change the word like a Jack. Oh, nothing came up, because Apple should be there, but nothing. Or let's try the Quarkus parameter. Okay, S should be there, but there's no. And when I go to the live coding, oh, there's no error. What's happening? So let's try to debug our application. So in order to run debug, you need to install kind of Java extension pack. So I already extend Java extension pack in my VS Code, and go to the debug menu, and create a new the debug configuration. All right, this is case Java. Okay, we needed to Java attach, and we're gonna use the default port 5005. And the second one, we don't need to actually, no need. Okay, save this the configuration, and close this one. And let's start the debug. Okay, so debug is the starting. And so let's append the breakpoint in the middle of this new method. And then just go to terminal. Let's try to invoke API. Okay, we got to catch it in the middle of the our method. And now let's try to step over just a couple of times. Okay, the length is 7. And the last letter, the empty, because the length exactly the same the number of the letters. So it should be length is the decrease of 1, like a 6. So just go to continue, and let's try to fix this. Try to fix this code, like just 1, and just one more time. Call and try to step out, step over. And now you got the S. Okay. Also, you can change the code maybe here. And one more time, and just try to, okay, now we got the length 6. And then the next step, okay, the last letter S, and continue. So let's remove the breakpoint. Okay, let's try it a couple of times in a web browser. Yeah, we're gonna I'm gonna just stop the present mode here. Okay, the greeting. So I'm gonna the last letter Daniel. Okay, L. Oh, it's perfect. So that's exactly what I need. And maybe Quarkus here. So S. Okay, so now we figured out what root cause is, and we can fix that problem very quickly using the Quarkus debug capability. Okay, just go back to slide deck here and change the present mode once again. Okay, so move on to the second demo. So let's say, okay, we just done to deploy new application based on a test-driven development pattern. And also, if you got some error without no exception, so you can fix that problem. You can troubleshooting using debug on your local environment using Quarkus debugging capability. So now it's time to deploy our application onto the remote Kubernetes or in your mini cube on your local environment. But point is now we need to have some integration tests because we are ready to go. And you have some team member and you need to integrate test with your team members application. So the first deploy Kubernetes, you just need to Kubernetes extension, Quarkus Kubernetes extension. So this is allowed you to generate Kubernetes resource like a manifest, like a service and service account, deployment, etc. All required resources to deploy your application into Kubernetes cluster. This is functionality based on Decorate tool. And also there are one more the helpful extension is a container image zip. So you don't need to container tool like a Docker CLI, or you don't even need to container engine like a Docker to build your container image before you deploy this application into Kubernetes cluster. So once you just run the Maven packaging, and then you gotta generate resources your project, and then you just apply that resource into your Kubernetes cluster. So here's a couple of configuration you can specify when you deploy your application into Kubernetes cluster, and you can define all configuration inside the application properly in your Quarkus project. So just a couple of things. I'm not gonna touch it on every single detail, but you can define some kind of variable. You can read that value of your system environment, or you can read the value of your secret object or config map. And you can also define the image registry, like external query container registry, etc. So let's take a look at that, how it works. Okay, so I'm gonna close here and I'll go back to the navigator here. All right. So for first thing is I need to add my extension Kubernetes. So Kubernetes extension, just install and let's try to go to Palm XML, make sure the new extension is pulled down here. So Quarkus Kubernetes extension just pulled down here. And then let's try the Maven, just package it without any compilation. So in the meantime, so you can go to target directory, and the new the Kubernetes resource will be generated under target directory with the Kubernetes directory here. So there are two types of format file, JSON and YAML. So it's just open up YAML file. So here is the service account and service, all and deployment, all required Kubernetes object and resource to deploy your application. Okay, let's try. So here is the so for example, let's try to tweak one of the configuration. So the Quarkus, the Kubernetes version is here is the 1.0.0 snapshot. It came from your application version in a Palm XML. So, but I need to change this version when you deploy Quarkus and the Kubernetes. Let's try to add Quarkus and Kubernetes. There are a bunch of the configuration you can set it on in application property, Kubernetes version, and try to 2.0, and one more time to packaging this application. And now you got the just open up the JSON format. Now you have the 2.0. It's changing your application, and you apply this resource to the remote or inside your local environment, Kubernetes. It will deploy application using the kubectl, and apply -f file the under the targeted Kubernetes like a YAML file, etc. Just to make sure to log in Kubernetes cluster first. So I'm not going to deploy for today, but I'm going to show you how to deploy this application to OpenShift container platform. So back to the presentation. So there are two ways to deploy your application to OpenShift. Actually, you can deploy your application using OpenShift extension, just like a Kubernetes extension, and using your Thinja to deploy OpenShift container platform. And you can, here is a couple of configuration. For example, during the deployment, the OpenShift extension allows you package a container image based on your Quarkus application and the target deployment environment OpenShift. And also the Quarkus OpenShift exposure true means you can expose your service to use OpenShift router as a default. And you can add some label, and you can define the specific base image when you containerize this application. And also you can deploy your native executable file with the source to image capability in OpenShift using OC new app command, or you can create a container image using Docker file, and then packaging this application using the Podman or Docker Sierra, and then push that image to the external registry, and then you can use the OC binary build. But this is a more simple way, just so you can define your base image. For example, here, Quay.io, the UVI Quarkus native image, S2R image, and also you can specify your source repository in external, like a github.com. And then finally, you need to expose your service to access the application from external. So let's try to do that. So I wanted to use this configuration today. So just to make sure not copy that. Okay. So first thing is I'm gonna need to add a new extension OpenShift here. And let's take a look at the POM XML. So new extension is pulled down here. It's a Quarkus-OpenShift. Now we got it. And next thing is we needed to add some configuration, application, property file here. I could just copy and paste, avoid some kind of typo. And then we're gonna Maven package, but just before that, just make sure you already logged in OpenShift container platform. So I already logged in my OpenShift container platform. We'll see who am I. Okay, and we'll see project. Okay, so here is my OpenShift cluster, the same user one project. I just try to reload, make sure there's nothing at this moment in this project. Okay, just back to here, Maven package, but I'm gonna skip the unit test because we already we already finished a couple of times. Okay. So once you deploy using the Maven packaging using OpenShift extension, the behind the scene, the Fabricate tool, try to build this application first, and then containerize this application, and lastly, deploy application, the remote your OpenShift container platform. So let's try to see. Now you have the OpenShift resource file like a JSON and YAML. Once you open the OpenShift YAML file, you're gonna see the service account service just like we saw in the Kubernetes resource, but there's a couple of more than Kubernetes resource. Like image stream is one of the feature of the OpenShift. You can manage your actual image with this kind of sort of metadata. And also there are build compute. You can specify the build strategy, like a triggering and the image change, also deploying compute as well. So in the meantime, we just done and go, let's go to here. Console. Oh, now we have a Quarkus application here. And just try to to see a log file. Okay, this is a Quarkus application and the recent port 8080. And what else? Okay, here is some interesting number. So we just need half a second to start up this application. So this is one of the reasons why Quarkus is faster than any other Java framework. And just go back to topology and click on open URL to make sure everything is working. And go to hello, and a little bit make it bigger. Okay, hello is working. And what else? Yeah, greeting Daniel. Okay, greeting Daniel, greeting Jeff. Greeting Jeff. And what about the Rust Radar Quarkus? Okay, it's totally working. So my application worked well on my local environments. And now I just deploy application, just put in a couple of configuration on my application property file. And then I just use the same command line Maven package. And then this application just deployed the OpenShift container platform automatically. All right. And back to the here. Okay, just one more thing I want to show you to native compilation to deploy OpenShift container platform. So in order to that, let's create a new project. It's kind of some native demo here, and make sure to change the project to native demo here, and I'm gonna make it bigger. And what's new app? Okay, so just new app. I'm gonna do repair this base image, and I'm gonna repair this Git repository, just like the same application, just without the last letter endpoint. So go back to OpenShift. Okay, so here is the build is already starting. So go to, let's check it out, the build. So there are a couple of steps as required on your source to image build process. The first step, the build process, try to clone the Git repository, your source code from Git repository. In this case, the cloning the Git, the Quarkus quick start. And once you clone and just get started to build your application from download the Maven the dependency, but in this case, you here see here. So we're going to use the native profile to build the native compilation file, and and download all dependent library from the Maven repository. And once we're done, we're gonna build this application based on native compilation profile. And you can also see here the GraalVM version for building native imaging. So it takes a little bit longer than normal Maven package you saw earlier to create the Finger, because uh, the uh, the native compilation enable the Java developer build the running executable file, and we get rid of all dynamic behavior at runtime. Instead, native compilation create build image and executable image, and we put in the all necessary capability, such as scanning annotation and the parsing descriptor and understand configuration functionality, or also load some metadata. So this is happening, and this is part of the dynamic behavior always happening at runtime. But this is a really good benefit of a Java framework and the traditional Java application. But now we need a more optimized application and microservices on Kubernetes cluster for event-driven application plus a serverless application. So the Quarkus give you two ways to build the usual Ninja application as well as native executable application using native profile. So in the meantime, we're gonna have some fun stuff. So you can change to topology to add a label. Just maybe differentiate. Oh, I have a 5 application on my project, but 2 application is Quarkus, and the other is some kind of backend server, like the Kafka or integration or messaging server. So in order to make different to looking, just use the kind of label IO runtime in the Quarkus and save it. It's kind of typo. Oh yeah, just one more time. App OpenShift IO / runtime equal Quarkus. Save it here. Okay, we got a Quarkus here, and still build is running. Okay, so build is success, and next step is to make containerize the application based on the UVI based image. And once you containerize this application, next step, we're gonna push this new container image into internal container registry inside OpenShift container platform. Okay, we just done push the application. Go back to here. So application is just running. So let's check it out. The log, the Quarkus is running. So one interesting stuff, maybe you already aware about that. So we just need a 15 milliseconds to start this application. So previously we deployed same application using Binjar, using OpenShift extension capability, and that is half a second to start up. So this is maybe 250 times faster than the previous Binjar application. If you compare to the another application Java framework, it's more than 300 or more than faster than any other Java framework. But it depends on what kind of application logic and what kind of capability you implement inside your microservice application. Okay, so one more step. So I'm gonna expose the service here and go back to topology view and just try to access the endpoint URL and hello. It's the same result, and the greeting Daniel. Oh, same result, or the Quarkus. Okay, it's done. Okay, so just a couple of the quick summary. Back to the here. So I'm gonna present mode, change the present mode. So I'm gonna show you today from local development with the testing application and the debugging application, and how to deploy the application into Kubernetes and OpenShift container platform. I believe it's really helpful to develop your project and deploy your application on your Kubernetes or OpenShift container platform in order to integration test or functional test with the whole your team. Okay, that's all I have, and I'm gonna hand it over back to Jeff.
All right. Daniel, thank you so much. That was a great couple demos there, and hopefully that helps everyone, whether you're attending live or you watch this after the fact. It'll give you some helpful tools and things to make your deploying and creating your applications and testing them easier. As always, we want to leave you with a few things. Daniel, can you go to the next slide? This is just one of many resources. We want to There's a lot of resources for you to learn with Quarkus and all these different extensions. So I'm going to make this deck available so you can have all the links necessary. So I will send it probably via the Zulip chat, so you have access to this slide deck as well. And as always, you can watch this video. So in the meantime, between now and next week, please submit any questions you've got. If there's any topics you'd like us to get some experts to cover, we will do that. I may send out on the Zulip chat a survey to see if we can get an idea in terms of what people are looking for or what they need. Well, with that being said, thank you very much for attending, and we look forward to talking with you next week. And good luck developing your applications. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good rest of the day.